Hi everyone, I hope you are all doing well. Let's get into this week's lesson. This week we are going to continue with Excel and we're going to work on creating our own gradebook this week. So here's how it's going to be. So just to review, we have the columns, right? The columns are the letters and the rows are the numbers. So let's talk about creating the tests on the top. So this is where you're going to enter your data in for the test. So you could use real data or you could just make the numbers up. I really just want the kids to know how to use the formulas in Excel. So you could put test 1 here and then over here test 2, and notice I leave the A column blank. So we're going to start in the B column here, in the B column, okay? So here's where Excel gets really smart. I can put test 3. Excel is so smart that if you highlight these and you see it changes to a black plus, does everybody see it changes to the black plus? It looks like this, and then I go to the bottom right and change it to a black plus. I click and hold and I can extend it. And notice it fills it in for me. So Excel is so smart that it figures out what you're doing and it can do it again. So I'll just show you again how to do that. So you just highlight after you test 1, test 2, test 3, and you go over here and you click and hold, and it has to be a little black plus at the bottom right, and you just drag it across, and Excel is so smart it will figure it out. Okay, then over here what you're going to do is you're going to write average. Okay, so we're making all of our data is going to go here, so we're going to make averages of all our data here. So over here you could put your subject. Okay, so let's put over here subject. And if you need to add more space, you see it becomes 2 arrows on the top, 2 black arrows. You can click and hold and you can extend it if you need to. So maybe you have math, reading, and writing. Okay, so now at this point what you're going to do is you're going to put in numbers. And you probably don't have 10 exams and tests and quizzes already, so you could just make the data up. It doesn't have to be really, you could just make it up. So now you're going to enter it in. So let's say you want this one to be 89, 88, and then leave the average blank because that one we're going to have Excel do for us. And now you can do for the next one, same thing. And finally for writing. Okay. So now we have our data in here, and now we want Excel to do the average for us. Okay, so we want to see the average of all of our tests. So what was the average score? So here's how you do the average. You go across here, you click on this, and I click and hold, and I go all the way across. Okay, and I go until this is a blank one. And then I go to this funny E, and this funny E has a lot of different things you can do. I could add all these numbers up. I could count how many numbers are. I could do max. I could do min. I could do all the different, this is of functions, they call them in Excel. So if I did sum, that would tell me all of this together, all these numbers was 808. That's not what I want. I want to do average. Okay, so I can go over here. And if I click count numbers, it would tell me there were 10 numbers there. I could find the max score, what was the highest score. I could find the lowest score as well. But we're going to do average this week. So Excel is very smart. I'll just show you real quick. If I wanted to find out what was the biggest number in this row, I could just go to here and I could do max, and Excel would tell me it was 100 was the biggest number. So Excel is very smart. And then for this row, we're going to do the average again. And I go to the E. And I'm going to go to average. Okay. Now, for the third row, I'll show you a trick. Again, you can go across if you'd like. Oh, sorry, my mouse is not working. You can go across just like you did the other. Oh. You can go across. And you can go to the E again and click average. Or what you could do is Excel is so smart. I can go to this cell here and click on it, and I go to the bottom right, and you see it turns into a black plus. I can go to that black plus and I could pull it down, and Excel is so smart. It says, you've been doing averages. I think you're going to want to average this. And notice it puts the formula in, equals average B5 to K5, okay? So the other way to do it, so there's 3 ways to do the average. The one is to do it like we were doing it, where you go across, and you go to the E, and you average. You could do it like that. Another thing you could do is you can go over here. If you're already done in this cell, go to the bottom right and pull it down. Another way you could do it is you could type it in. So here's the way it's a little bit harder, but it's important to learn about it. So if you write equals, if you type equals into an Excel cell here, right, put equal, what I'm doing is I'm telling the computer, okay, now we're going to do a math problem. So always put the equal sign first. If I say equals average, and I click on average, now average, what do I want to average? I want to average from this one. I'm going to click on B5, and then I'm going to click colon, and then I'm going to go to K5. Okay, and then if I click, I have to put a parentheses around it. Okay, so equals average, parentheses B5 to K5, and I click enter, and then it'll give it to me. So there's 3 different ways to use it. The easiest, the one I would recommend is to use this one here, like that. That's the easiest, but I wanted the children to be familiar with it. So first thing you do is you set it all up. Second thing is you put your subjects in with the numbers. Third thing you do is your average, okay? Now what we're going to do is we're going to tell Excel, can you make some of the cells green? And can you make some of them red under certain conditions? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight only the numbers. Okay, only the numbers. And I'm going to go to conditional formatting. I'm going to go to conditional formatting, and I'm going to say highlight rules. Okay, greater than. And I'm going to tell Excel, I want anything greater than an 89. I want that to be green. Click OK. Now anything higher than 89 is green. Okay. I could also say I could highlight all the data here, and I could say conditional formatting, highlight cell rules, less than. And you could say I want anything that's less than a 76. I want that to be red. Okay, you could pick the color that you want. I want light red here, however you want to do it. And now I could say, oh, those were the tests that were a little difficult. Then finally, what you can do if you want, you can highlight them all, and you can go to the all borders, and then you can make a nice little border there. And finally, the last thing, you don't have to do this, but some children like to do this. If you pull this down here, see it turns into 2 bars. You could pull it down here, and I could take this. Some children like to do this, and you go to the top here, the AB slanty, and then you make it like this, a little slanty. So some children like that. And last year, what the children like to do too is they like to sometimes click, and you could paint if you want to paint, change the color, go over here, however you want to do it, it's yours, your assignment. And then if you want to just put your name, you put your name at the bottom. Okay, so this week's Excel's activity was how to make a grade book in Excel, which is what we're doing here. Now I will show you how to do the same assignment with Google Sheets. If you don't have Microsoft Excel at home and you want to use Google Sheets, you could use that as well for this project. So let's take a look at how you would do it. So you're in the project here, and you can do add or create Google Sheets. Google Sheets is similar to Excel. Okay, so it will create the sheet for you. And then you'll just do the same thing, test 1, test 2, etc. Okay, test 3. Okay, so I won't do the whole thing like we were doing with the other one, but Google Sheets has the same rules. You can go over here and it'll turn into a black plus, and you could pull it across, and it will finish it in for you. Very smart program. Over here again, you'd put math, science, whatever subjects you want to put, reading. And I'll just copy the data in. That way we don't have to wait the whole time. Just copy this in real quick. Right click copy, right click paste. And you also could do Control C and Control V to paste. So now I have my data in here. And then what did I want to do? I wanted to do average, right? So I put average over here. That's the same thing that you would do with Microsoft Excel. Let me zoom out so everybody could see this. So now I want to do my average, and I could do just like I did with Excel. I can go across like this, and I go to the E, and I go to average, and I'll put and then just click enter, and it will do the average for me. Same thing, I'm going to do this one here, and the Google Sheet does it a little different. You could have this one blank, and it will go to the next one, and then enter. And if you want to do it closer, you don't need the blank one like Excel. You could just stop here, and then you can go to E average, enter, then you put it there, and then what I could do is I could just type this in at this point if you wanted to, or I could just do this over. If you don't want the space, you just do it over. You just go to this point here, you go to the E, average, enter, and then finally with this one. Okay, E and average, okay? And same things apply if you want to do, if you want to fix this up, you could highlight everything, okay, and you can go over here, and then you make this here, okay, and I'll just put this here, 89.1. Okay, so please don't use a calculator, use the formulas. If you click on a cell, you see we'll say average, and it'll put the formula in. So please use that to make it look well, and then you can put average on the top here. And I just want to point out too, Excel is so clever. If you change one of the tests, the average will change. So let's say I made this a 78. You see this changes over here, okay? Because Excel is so clever. If I made this 55, you see it goes down. If I made this 100, it goes up. So Excel's always calculating the data. It's very, very clever. You can do the same thing that we did on the other ones. If you wanted to make this like a yellow or a different color, you could do that if you would like. And the last thing I just want to show everyone is conditional formatting with Google Sheets. So if you highlight all of your data here, and you can go to format conditional formatting. Okay, so I go to format conditional formatting. I already highlighted all my data, and I'm going to say what's a rule that I want. I want to say a rule if it's greater than. Okay, so greater than what? What's a score that you want to be green? If it's greater than, let's say 88. If it's greater than 88, I want it to be what I want it to be. Let's have it be green, and I click done. Now everything that's greater than 88 goes green. Okay, so what I would like the students to do this week is I'd like them to create a Excel or Google Sheet and have 3 subjects and 10 grades for each subject. And you could just make the numbers up if you want. If you don't have actual data, you could just make the numbers up. And I would like the students to do an average. We talked about that using the E for the average, the function. And also to use conditional formatting, okay? So conditional formatting means it changes the color of the cell automatically, make it green, make it red, however you would like to do it, okay? So that's our lesson on Excel. The last thing I just want to say is you can keep this sheet, you can keep your Google Sheet or your Excel spreadsheet, and you could use this in the future, and you could actually put in your own tests, and you could see what your scores are and see what your average is, because Excel will actually update it as you enter in different data. When you're ready to turn in your assignment, what you can do is you can go back to your classroom here, and it should be here. Your work should be here, and you could click turn in. If it's not there, what you could do is you can do add or create. And if you just did this in Google Sheets, you can go to Google Drive, and it should be here as a recent project that you've been working on. If you used Excel, what you could do is you could do add or create, and you could do add or create a file. And then what you could do is click upload. Click upload and then just drag it in here.